720,000 hours. That's roughly equivalent to 4,000 weeks, 1,000 months, or about 82 years, a reasonable length of time for a human lifespan. It's also the amount of video content that gets uploaded onto YouTube every single day. It doesn't need to be said, but you couldn't watch it all even if you tried. We are distributing more information today than at any other time in history. The last 100 years have seen a complete revolution in the ways we communicate about social issues, current affairs, and our cultures. The last 30 years have seen an explosion in the amount of knowledge we are exposed to with internet access, smartphones, and of course, the ubiquitous social media. We've gone from magazines to radio broadcasts to television, and now the algorithmically curated, infinitely scrollable pages that come built into our apps and browsers. They call it a feed for a reason. Suffice it to say, we live in a world with information that is more abundant and accessible than ever before. If this is the case, then why haven't we already figured out how to cure all cancers and fix the rest of the world's problems? I mean, we have the entirety of human knowledge sitting in our back pockets right now. What is out there may be unlimited, but the problem remains in choosing what to spend our time on. After all, there is only so much that our brains can comprehend. We now have constant access to a never-ending supply of things to look at. This makes it easy to understand why we are so predisposed to heuristics. Heuristics are mental shortcuts that let us make quick judgments in cases of uncertainty. Mental shortcuts that let us focus on whatever stands out the most. We generalize, approximate, summarize, put things into 25 words or less, or ask for the TLDR. Sometimes this is enough when we just need a straightforward answer to a question. But what if what we want to learn about isn't straightforward, or it's an issue where opposing viewpoints need to be considered? In these cases, the required nuance cannot be conveyed accurately by something as simple as a headline. It's time to think critically about the effect this flood of suggested content is having on us. To do that, let's revisit a tool created for diet guidance back in 1980, the Healthy Eating Pyramid. We're all familiar with these basic guidelines, which elegantly illustrate what it means to eat a balanced diet. Plenty of vegetables and whole foods, and a minimal amount of processed junk food that doesn't contain a lot of nutrients. These guidelines remain the ideal standard to move towards if we care about leading healthier and happier lives. But what if we took these guidelines and transposed them to create a healthy information consumption pyramid? What if we used them to start making more careful, intentional choices about the things that we read, watch, and listen to every day? We know that junk food isn't good for us and should be consumed in moderation. In the same way, articles and clickbait videos algorithmically curated for our consumption leave very few nutrients to our minds. These are lacking in fact-checked evidence and often leave no consideration for other points of view. So just like chips, lollies, and chocolate, we need to limit these. Our bodies weren't built for highly processed foods, and our brains weren't built to take in hundreds of unrelated pieces of information every single day. But what if you do genuinely learn from what is being recommended to you? What if something is engaging not because it's controversial, but because it's funny or creative? Often this is true, but with recommendations, too often their priority is tilted away from accuracy in favor of appeal. Yes, we have more information available to us from ever before, but that doesn't mean we can understand more. We may know about a social issue, but have no idea about its original cause. We may follow exciting pop culture moments from across the world, whilst missing out on the artistic work being made and performed right where we live. What is creative and funny is often engaging, but too often it suffers from a deficiency in depth. Types of information like books, journal articles, and reports take us longer to digest, and this is one way we can tell what types of information are better for us. There is a certain clarity that can only come from something like a book that has had to survive repeated reviewing from publishers, critiques, and rewrites, all intended to make it as clear as possible for the reader to understand. Podcasts are often just as effective at exploring a complex topic in rich detail, and films and documentaries give us an extended visual exploration of an idea. Visual art itself is a form of knowledge sharing and storytelling that has existed throughout all histories and cultures and gives us a way to convey ideas that language alone cannot. When was the last time you stepped into an art gallery or museum? Or what about listening to a live debate, speech, or performance? If we're serious about adopting this pyramid model, these are the types of information that we need to be consuming the most. Growing up, I was a big reader of young adult fiction, but this tapered off pretty much completely at the beginning of high school. Finally, having access to my own smartphone made it a lot less appealing to spend my free time after school reading a book, unsurprisingly. My return to reading has come as I've reached the end of my university degree and rediscovered the simple joy of reading. And I know I'm not the first person to discover libraries, but guys, you just go in and ask for a library card, and then they let you borrow anything you want for free. It is magical. There is a wealth of history, knowledge, and culture that's available to us right now beyond our digital spaces. And it was finally spending that time reading again that made me realize the significance of choice in what I consume. The fact that a common New Year's resolution is the wish to read more books, but never a firm commitment to watch more TV, reveals that on some level we know what types of information are better for us, and we know that what we pay attention to matters. Because while junk media may be an abstract problem, the opinions and perceptions we can form from it have real ramifications. It's time to think about what choices we've outsourced to algorithms that have no idea what we need or want. Enriching our lives with information that we actively seek out whilst prioritizing quality gives us not only better ideas, but better language with which to express them. These are the tools of thinking and communicating that absolutely all of us need. Imagine how much richer our conversations would be if we were all striving to inform ourselves in this intentional way. Being intentional gives us the chance to engage with what is coming out of our communities, from our artists to our academics and everyone in between. In doing so, we connect ourselves with what matters to those closest to us. I invite you all now to take a moment. Think back to the start of today. What information have you already consumed? Did you check your phone the second that you woke up? Consider what kinds of things you most commonly look at and where they come from. Have you ever thought about why you consume the information that you do? Is it because you actively sought it out or because it was put in front of you? This is the critical difference between habit and choice. Because you won't find yourself accidentally reading a book, but so many of us are led today to open our feeds without even thinking about it. Now is the time to make that conscious shift. Now is the time to move from passively engaging with whatever grabs our attention to making careful, powerful choices about the types of information we consume. They say that you are what you eat. I think it's time that we recognize that what goes into our eyes and ears is just as significant. A small shift towards intentionality and conscious consumption has the power to transform our worldviews and our world. And what could be more satisfying than that? Thank you.